Do you feel like you are carrying an invisible weight that is preventing you from moving forward and living life to the fullest? It could be that constant worry, guilt from the past, or even fear of the future. You don't have to live like this. That's not what God planned for you. Free your mind and heart to live lightly, full of peace and purpose. Discover the hidden power that exists within you, a force capable of transforming your worries into confidence, guilt into inner peace, and resentment into hope. God wants you to fight and be strong. He will help you in every moment of change that you need to face. He just wants you to look at Him. Never take your eyes off the one who has all the power to completely transform your life. See how God will help you on this journey of personal transformation. God's grace is a gift, an invisible blessing that transforms people's lives in surprising ways. It is like a gentle wind that pushes us forward, even when we are tired or discouraged. When we allow ourselves to be enveloped by this grace, we begin to live an abundant life, full of meaning and purpose. It is not just about material possessions, but about finding clarity and inner peace, even in the midst of adversity. Often, the abundant life has more to do with our trust in God than with what we possess externally. Living under divine grace also means recognizing that, despite our mistakes and negative feelings, we are still worthy of love and forgiveness. It is common for people to hold on to resentment, guilt, or fear, but God's grace calls us to freedom. It shows us that we can let go of these burdens, and in turn, receive inner peace. One way to experience this is through constant prayer, allowing Jesus to guide our steps, even when everything seems confusing. True, abundant living is also about our willingness to embrace hope and notice the blessings around us. When a person reflects on their life with gratitude, they begin to see how God's grace manifests itself in small moments of joy and divine protection. A simple walk in nature, for example, can be a way to perceive this abundance. It is important to be open and receptive, like a container ready to be filled with the gifts that God offers us daily. The heart can be compared to a container that holds our feelings, memories, and experiences. Everything we experience, whether positive or negative, fills this container over time. When we accumulate worries, resentments, and hurts, this container becomes heavy, overflowing with negative feelings that end up influencing our actions and decisions. This is why we must be careful about what we allow into our hearts, as it directly affects our inner peace and our way of seeing life. Just as a container needs to be cleaned regularly to be used properly, the heart also needs constant cleaning. A good way to do this is to reflect on the feelings that are taking up unnecessary space. Ask yourself, am I holding on to resentments or fears that no longer have a reason to be there? Forgiveness is a powerful tool for emptying the heart of heavy burdens. By forgiving, we are not only releasing the other person, but also freeing ourselves from unnecessary emotional burden. Caring for the heart as a vessel means filling it with things that build us up. Gratitude, for example, is an effective way to replace negativity with light. By practicing prayer and giving thanks for the small daily blessings, the heart remains open to God's grace. This ongoing process helps us live more lightly and experience a fuller and more abundant life. In this way, the heart becomes a place of peace and hope, capable of receiving and reflecting divine blessings. All of us at some point carry heavy burdens in life. These burdens can be emotional, such as guilt, fear, or resentment, or even constant worries that drain our energy and undermine our trust in God. Often we get so used to carrying these weights that we don't realize how much they are affecting us. It's like carrying a backpack full of rocks without realizing that we can place these rocks at the feet of Jesus and set ourselves free. A very common burden is that of painful memories that remain alive in our hearts, like scars that never completely heal. These memories become a barrier to the abundant life that God desires for each of us. However, the first step to relieving this weight is self-awareness, recognizing what we are carrying and understanding that we do not have to do it alone. Prayer is a powerful tool for releasing these burdens. By trusting God with our feelings and concerns, we find the inner peace we so desperately seek. Another way to alleviate these burdens is to practice forgiveness, both toward ourselves and toward others. Holding on to resentment only adds to the weight on our shoulders. By forgiving, we are allowing ourselves to live more lightly, making room for God's blessings and grace to flow into our lives. This frees us to live with greater clarity and purpose, seeing beyond momentary difficulties and trusting in God's protection as we walk. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful acts we can practice, not only toward others, but also toward ourselves. We often carry resentments and hurts that act like poisons, damaging our inner peace and our ability to live fully. By forgiving, we free our hearts from negative feelings, allowing them to be filled with God's grace. This does not mean forgetting what happened, but rather stopping allowing the past to define the present. Emotional healing begins when we recognize that forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves. By releasing resentments, we are making room for God's blessings to enter our lives. A good exercise is to reflect on who or what still causes us pain and give it to Jesus in prayer. Healing does not happen all at once, but each time we choose to forgive and let go, we move closer to a lighter life and inner peace. In addition to forgiveness, we also need to forgive ourselves for mistakes we have made in the past. Guilt is a heavy burden that prevents us from living with confidence and hope. When we forgive ourselves, we allow God's grace to transform our pain into life lessons, teaching us to be more compassionate and patient. Emotional healing is a process that requires time and reflection, but it is essential for us to experience true peace and divine protection. Self-awareness is the foundation for personal and spiritual growth. When someone allows themselves to stop and reflect on their emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, they begin to identify the patterns that have influenced their life. Often, negative feelings, such as fear or worry, can arise from past memories or experiences that have not yet been resolved. The practice of daily reflection helps us to gain clarity about what is occupying our hearts and whether these things are bringing us closer to or further away from the abundant life that God desires for us. Reflecting on our actions and thoughts is like looking into the mirror of the soul. This practice allows a person to perceive what needs to be changed in order to live with more purpose and inner peace. A good way to start is to set aside a few minutes each day to write down what you are feeling and what thoughts are dominating your mind. This brings clarity and helps to identify negative feelings that often go unnoticed. By bringing these emotions to the surface, it is easier to deal with them and seek release through prayer and trust in God. Self-awareness also allows us to recognize our blessings and God's grace in our lives. When we look within ourselves and reflect on our journey, we are able to see how divine protection has been present in difficult times, guiding and strengthening us. This practice invites us to develop an attitude of gratitude and to live more intentionally, embracing the present with greater confidence and inner peace. Words have an incredible power to shape our reality. What we say and think directly influences our perception of life and what we expect from it. Positive words such as hope, faith, and gratitude can bring God's grace into our lives, renewing our perspective and helping us see blessings that may have previously gone unnoticed. By speaking about the good things and nurturing positive thoughts, our hearts open to abundant life and divine protection. Speaking words of life and blessing is like planting seeds in our hearts and in the hearts of others. When we encourage others or ourselves with words of hope and trust in God, we are building an atmosphere of peace and liberation. A simple example is to start the day with a prayer of gratitude, giving thanks for the blessings we have received and asking for clarity to deal with challenges. By doing this, we are cultivating a positive mindset, which directly reflects on our inner peace and how we face difficulties. On the other hand, negative words, even when said unconsciously, can trap a person in cycles of worry, fear, and resentment. Identifying these patterns and replacing them with positive affirmations is a daily but powerful exercise. By talking about what we desire, instead of focusing on what we fear, our trust in God grows and we become more open to the blessings He has to offer us. In this way, we learn to live with more gratitude and to value the small daily victories. Often people get lost in worries about the future or in memories of the past, failing to live the present to its fullest. Embracing the present is a practice that teaches us to value the now, to notice the blessings that are before us, and to trust in divine protection for what is yet to come. When one focuses on the present, one finds a sense of inner peace and clarity that helps one better deal with life's challenges. It is in the present that we can act, grow, and connect deeply with God. Prayer is a powerful tool to help the mind focus on the present. By starting the day in communion with God, expressing gratitude for all that He has already done, one begins to look at the present with eyes of hope. A simple practice that can help is to make a daily list of the things for which you are grateful, even if they are small, such as a hot cup of coffee or a good morning from someone. This keeps the heart as a vessel ready to receive more blessings without burdening it with unnecessary worries about what is beyond our control. In addition, embracing the present means learning to let go of the past and not live anxiously about the future. Jesus teaches us to live one day at a time, and when we do this, we are recognizing our trust in God. Thus, when we stop and reflect on the present moment, we realize how much we have already been protected and blessed. This attitude fills us with faith, allowing us to walk with more lightness and purpose, knowing that we are under divine protection at every step of our journey. Identifying negative thoughts is the first step to preventing them from dominating our mind and poisoning our heart. These thoughts often come in subtle forms, such as worries about the future or guilt about the past, but they have the power to block our vision of God's blessings and grace in our lives. A heart filled with negative feelings ends up becoming a container for doubts and fears, distancing us from the inner peace we seek. Learning to recognize these thoughts is essential to living with greater clarity and trust in God. A practical way to identify these patterns is to pay attention to the words we use in our daily lives, both in conversations and in silent thoughts. If you notice that you are constantly thinking negative scenarios or expressing feelings of guilt and resentment, it is a sign that you need to reevaluate your mindset. Keeping a journal where you write down these thoughts can be a good way to recognize patterns that were previously hidden. With this, you can replace these thoughts with faith and hope through prayers and positive statements. The next step, after identifying them, is to challenge these thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or, is this aligned with the abundant life that God has for me? Negative thoughts are often fueled by unfounded fears or old memories that no longer make sense. By questioning them and handing them over to God, one frees oneself from this mental prison, allowing divine protection and the blessings of a more purposeful life to flow naturally. Taking care of oneself is not just a matter of vanity or selfishness, but an act of respect for the body and mind that God has given us. Self-neglect can lead to physical and emotional exhaustion, preventing us from experiencing the abundant life that is available to us. When one dedicates oneself to self-care, one is opening oneself to God's grace and allowing Him to renew oneself. This care includes everything from healthy eating and adequate rest to moments of prayer and reflection, which are essential to finding inner peace. It is important to recognize the signs that the body and mind give us when we are at our limit. For example, if one feels constantly exhausted or overwhelmed, it may be time to evaluate where one is putting one's energy. In addition to physical issues, taking care of one's mental and emotional health is essential. Practices such as Christian meditation, moments of silence with God, and even reading books that promote spiritual growth are ways to nourish oneself in a holistic way. In this way, the heart remains a vessel ready to receive divine blessings and protection. Taking care of yourself also includes establishing healthy boundaries with people and situations that drain your energy. Surrounding yourself with positive influences and environments that promote peace is a way to honor yourself and God. Self-care teaches us to value what truly matters, helping us to live with greater purpose and trust in God. When we take care of ourselves, we are better prepared to face life's challenges with faith and clarity, allowing God's grace to fully manifest in our daily lives. The social circle in which someone is inserted has a profound impact on the way that person sees the world and themselves. Negative influences can be subtle, but they have the power to fuel thoughts of fear, worry, and resentment, undermining trust in God and overshadowing the blessings that are all around us. Therefore, it is essential to evaluate who is around us and whether these people are helping us to live according to God's purposes, or whether they are contributing to negativity in our lives. Surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and share similar values, such as faith, hope, and gratitude, is essential for personal and spiritual growth. Sometimes it may be necessary to distance yourself from friendships that constantly drag you down, filling you with doubts and negative feelings. It is not an easy decision, but when we realize the impact of these influences, it becomes clear that our social circle must reflect what we want for our lives. A good exercise is to ask, do these people bring me closer to or further away from the peace and abundant life that God has for me? In addition to removing negative influences, it is important to actively seek out people who inspire us. Participating in prayer groups, studying the Bible with friends, or simply being around people who bring clarity and faith to our lives is a powerful way to strengthen our path. When our social circle is in harmony with our spiritual purposes, we feel divine protection in every interaction, and our hearts become containers full of hope, ready to share the blessings we have received. The power to transform your life is in your hands. Ask yourself, what burdens do you need to release today? What steps can you take now to live with more inner peace and trust in God? Don't let fear, guilt, or resentment keep you from experiencing the abundant life that was planned for you. Put all of this into practice, and you will see how God's grace can work miracles in your daily life. If you like this content and want to continue learning more about how to live a light and positive life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. That way, you will receive all the news and will not miss any videos that help you grow even more. May God bless you